Now look at the business model pivot. Pivoting to a multi-product strategy in the segments in which banks are less present. If you would have again gone back and seen what they were projecting in the early cycle, in the last cycle, they were always saying that we are like banks and we can do whatever the banks do. And now they are saying we are going into an area where banks will not go. So they are going into affordable housing now. Affluent housing was their strategy prior COVID. Now they have completely stopped affluent housing and focusing too much on the affordable housing space. You can see how much granularity and diversification they have done in the products in the last 2-3 years. And why? Because they know the kind of concentration they had in their portfolio and what kind of risk it posed at that point of time. In our previous webinar on Home First, we shared this 9-point summary on the Bharat credit consumer of Bharat, which was written by Jairam Sridharan, who is now the MD of Piramal Finance, right? So I would request all of you, if you have not looked at it, you should go and look at it, because that is the new area where they are focusing today. And we must be aware of what they are doing there. Unless we are well versed with what is happening in that phase, we will not be able to make a good judgment of whether they are going in the right track or not. Right? So there is a Hindi saying कि दूध का जला छाछ भी फूक फूक कर पीता है, right? And that you can see here in the current ALM, which I have just pasted from their recent. Why they are showing now up to 14 days, up to 1 month, up to 2 months, up to 3 months, up to 6 months, up to 1 year, up to 3 years, up to 5 years, and more than 5 years, because now they are in a much better position. Why they never revealed during the 2017-18 times? Because they were in a very, very, very bad shape at that point of time. And now, and they have learned their lessons, and that is why they have become much more conservative and have gone for much more long-term loans. And that is where they are in a much better place right now. And they are also taking a lot of short-term pain for long-term gain. And what do I mean by short-term pain? You can see the kind of the huge shift of asset from stage 1 to stage 2. And for that, you can look at the provision which has spiked up in the last quarter. Again, nobody can predict whether this is the end or the worst is behind or not. We are still not closer to the bottom. We may be closer to the bottom, or maybe the bottom has already passed. Nobody can say that with confidence. But if you look at the current con call, which and the way Jairam Sridharan and other management executive were speaking, they have realized that until and unless they get rid of these bad loans by either downselling them or repricing them or auctioning them, that is the only way out. And by moving from stage 1 to stage 2, it gives them more freedom to get rid of those loans. So the first thing to watch out for is how fast they can get rid of these loans and focus more on the retail side of the book. Now, we have already covered how Khushru Jijna had, what kind of profile he had, right? Now, look at the current person who is at the helm, Mr. Jairam Sridharan, and look at his profile. He has worked with Standard Chartered, ICICI Bank, Capital One, Axis Bank, and have a very, very, very solid 20-year of experience in the finance field. And then he has joined this company. Don't you think he is in a much better position compared to Mr. Khushru Jijna to handle these things. And don't you think in the last 1.5 years, he has actually taken some really good steps, which might not be revealing in the numbers today, but hopefully will reveal in the numbers, say maybe 1 year or 2 years down the line. And recently, Mr. Khushru Jijna resigned from his post as a director in the company. I have my own doubts. Maybe he would have been asked to resign rather than he resigning himself. Again, this is just a hunch. You should not take too much into it.